Hey everybody, Tyler from Krypton Report. Just want to remind you real quick, if you love shopping on Amazon and you want to support Southgate Media Podcast, if you go to southgatemedia.com, there's a portal where you can log into your Amazon from there, that a portion of everything you buy on Amazon goes to Southgate Media to help support that. I'm an Amazon shopper, so it's a great way of helping out. Alright, this is our Gym City Special Edition episode, and Jania's going to talk to you about something really cool that we discovered while we were at Gym City.
Alright guys, so this is called the Hero Initiative, okay? I don't know how many of you know about this. I had no idea that this was in existence, but basically, it's this really awesome charity and program that was set up about 15 years ago, okay? And what it does is it helps comic creators that are in need. You know, we have so many creators out there that are freelance writers, freelance artists, and they don't get paid what they should get paid, or they don't get, financial assistance, when it comes to medical things, anything that could happen in their life. So this was created to help those people who don't have the finances to take care of everyday stuff, guys, Life happens. So that's where Hero Initiative comes in.
The Hero Initiative was created to help the older generation of comics creators. Back in the day, they were just paid very little for their work, and these guys would create these images or they'd create these characters. They'd get a one-time fee, and then the company still makes money off them continually. I don't know if you've heard about just things recently where finally in mass media, Bill Finger was credited as being the co-creator of Batman along with Bob Kane. So the Hero Initiative is there to help those artists and writers who can't support themselves because they never got the credit that was due. And what was cool is the volunteer that we spoke with said their goal is to put themselves out of business. They want to get it so that they can take care of the creators and the writers who are aging. So if you get a chance, check out heroinitiative.org. That's the website. If you're at a con, it'll show you the cons they'll be at. You can volunteer to help. They sell awesome artwork and special products, as well as you can just donate there, but you can also donate straight from the site.
It's really awesome too. You can go on the website and you can take a look at everything they've done, and they have success stories on there. You've got people on here, let's see here, like Gene Colan, okay? He was an artist for Iron Man, Daredevil, and Batman, guys. Like, people who really have impacted our childhood and our lives through comics. These are the people that they help.
So check out Hero Initiative with the show.
All right, guys, here I got a special interview coming at you with legendary creator, comic book writer Mark Waid. Mark, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you today?
I'm excited. I'm very glad to be doing this. Don't want to take up too much of your time, but earlier when I met you, you signed my Superman Birthright, and you said it was your favorite thing to write.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that.
That was my favorite thing in the world to write. I mean, I've loved Superman ever since I was a kid, obviously. And I have I'm very protective of Superman in terms of what I think he does and doesn't do, or is and isn't. And so when DC came to me with the opportunity to sort of reboot it and sort of update it to the 21st century, it really gave me a chance to sort of deep dive into what I loved about Superman and think about him in a way that the 21st century audience would. Like, in a post 9/11 world, what is Superman like? What does he mean to people? And it really just gave me a chance to, like I said, just all the things I've been wanting to do with Superman all my life, I was able to put in those 12 issues.
I love it. I just recently reread it, just because it's one of those books I just like to go to. And parts that I think really jump out at me is, I love the beginning where he's in Africa.
Yeah, thank you.
I love that. I even like the where he can see like the aura of living things. And,
that meant a lot to me. That I stole completely outright from Elliot Magan, who wrote this great Superman book called Miracle Monday back in the late 70s. It's a novel, a prose novel, but And Elliot and I are good friends. I mean, we talk about this all the time. But I love that idea that, of course, he would be able to see. If he can see electromagnetic spectrum, you know, it's not like people made fun of it and said it's like soul vision. No, it's not like. We're not saying he can see souls. What he's saying is that everything gives off an energy, right? Everything, living or dead, gives off a certain sort of energy, and if you can see it, then seeing it disappear from living things must be the most horrible thing in the world.
It's not a far jump if he can see heat vision,
right?
Like in the sense of thermal heat.
Right, exactly,
you know, it's not a departure from that.
No,
it's just
not. Exactly.
It's a continuation of that same spectrum of thinking. I love that beginning of just his story, him being involved, trying to help, trying to do something, and not being Superman.
Right.
I thought something that's been, we could talk probably about this forever, but something that's kind of been missing from film and TV since Smallville is the idea that he doesn't know his origin.
Right.
And I love that he was discovering who he is throughout the story.
Thank you.
Where he has this like tablet he's trying to open, like he's getting excited about his history.
It's a comic book, is what it is. It's a Kryptonian comic book. Is what it is. That was by design. That's what it was.
And I love the idea that he doesn't come like. I've said this before on our podcast. Is like I feel like so much of the media, not comics, but like the regular media, has got stuck in the Donnerverse of the films.
Right.
They haven't been able to really break out of that thinking. And even when they try, they kind of do it with a slight pullback.
Right.
That having him fully formed as his powers, but having no idea of really where he's from or who he is,
right.
And seeing that joy in the character as he finds out, I'm from Krypton, I'm this, was a great just story. And then, oh, you're very welcome. The ending gets me every time.
Oh, the ending I had first. The ending was the first thing I had.
With basically, like, I read it the other night, and my wife she was playing video games, she was sitting there, and I just, like, stopped, and I was like, I have to tell you this. I'm like, you have to, because, like, I'm sitting there teary-eyed,
yeah.
And she's like, and she knows how I get, but I'm like, the fact that they leave, like, our son just turned 1.
Okay.
So ever since then, I cannot watch any Superman property without now seeing myself in that, and I'm like, the fact that he has the moment to tell his parents after he left, I made it.
I made it.
And it's just like, wow, like that's just so awesome.
Thank you.
And like, so like when we were doing our Superman movie marathon, we kind of skipped the parts of the baby.
Right, yeah.
Because we're like,
can't do that.
It gets to us. But I highly recommend it as a book for anyone to read.
Thank you.
Now, along with that, I've really enjoyed your Daredevil run.
Thank you.
Because my good friend Phil, who I podcast with on other things, he bought me a volume of your Daredevil run, and it pulled me back into that character as far as reading the books.
Yeah.
I just liked your take. I liked the approach where it came from.
Yeah.
Of course, my wife loves Kingdom Come.
Thank you. Excellent.
Because the story, but she loves Alex Ross's artwork.
Alex Ross's work is beautiful. Yeah.
And it was one of those books that I bought kind of on a whim. I was at the Dalton bookstore in the mall back when we had them.
Right.
And they had like buy 3 graphic novels, get 1 free.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, which ones?
Okay, so that was your free?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I picked that one up and I was like, I've heard of this, but I don't remember.
Right.
I think my free one, I think I remember what it was, but it was not good. But I read it and I love it, and I reread it every year.
Well, thank you.
Just so much of that is just so powerful. I love the idea of like the line, we could hit him with a K-bomb, but it wouldn't do anything because he's been on Earth too long.
Right, yeah.
And it gets to that point of now Superman basically is completely invincible.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
And what do we do? So that's a great story, but is there any characters that you haven't got to write that you'd like to?
There's not many at this point. I mean, I've been lucky enough to be able to deep dive in most everything from Archie to Batman to the Avengers to the X-Men and all over the map. I haven't had a run at Captain Marvel, DC's Captain Marvel, Shazam. I've not had a run, and that would be.
I would love to see your take on that.
I'm tailor-made for that. That was made for me, and I would love to take a shot at that.
And like, I told my wife this. I always come up with story ideas myself. And I was like, the thing I loved about Shazam, when we watched the DC animated short, was like he was like a Superman fanboy.
Yes.
They got to become Superman.
Yeah.
So like for me, like if I was making a film or a story, I'm like, I would kind of approach that with like the idea of like, do you actually get to become what you want?
Yeah.
Robin was brought into the comics as a way for readers to see themselves with Batman.
Right.
But Shazam is you are the character.
Right. Plus, you don't have to do like Batman did and train for millions of years. You don't have to be like Superman does and come from an alien planet, except say a magic word.
Boom.
Yeah.
So, I would love to see your take on that.
Maybe someday. Maybe we'll get lucky.
Oh, I'm hoping. My good friend Phil wanted me to ask you about your Flash run.
Yeah.
Like, what was it like writing for the Flash?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, it was. I came at a lucky time because that was right after the first TV show got canceled. It lasted 1 year and it went off the air. And DC was actually thinking, well, why are we still publishing this book? Because the sales aren't great and the TV show's gone. Should we retire the character for a while? And then, as luck would have it, I just stumbled onto it. Brian Augusto was my editor and my best friend, and gave me the gig. And 100 issues later, and I wrapped up my run. And I was very lucky. It was a chance to really learn everything I know about writing comics. I got to learn through the Flash.
That's awesome. That it's a character. The Flash's character. I remember being a kid and that show was on and being so excited, and I remember seeing it. Bits and pieces, he kept moving it around, and it was if I remember correctly, because I was so young at the time, it was my first big introduction to that character.
Yeah.
So when the show came on DVD, I bought it, and I was like, it's just one of those, I remember it so well as a kid, and I just greatly appreciate this time. Is there anything you'd like to say about anything for people who want to get into comics, like
I gotta say,
creating?
Yeah, in terms of creating and wanting to get into comics, the nice thing about the internet is that it's sort of democratized the process. Like, if you can set up a web page and you can put your work online, then other people will see it. And publishers look for stuff online now, and editors do. And so it's no longer like having to show up it's no longer having to live in New York. It's no longer having to print up copies of a comic book and take it to a convention. No, you can as long as you can get your work out there seen by somebody, I think there's hope. And the nice thing about putting it up on the web too is if you do it on a regular enough basis, editors and publishers look at that and go, okay, not only is it good, but he's proven he can do it on a regular basis. So that's it shows sort of a work ethic that helps when it comes to hiring too.
Is there any project that's coming up that you can talk about that you're working on or anything else?
There's a series that I'm doing with Wilfredo Torres, who's the artist, and Tom Byer, who is one of my closest friends, and he's co-writing with me. It's from Aftershock Comics. It's called Captain Kidd, and it's Tom's idea. It's a great idea. It's about a pop culture fan in his mid-40s. With bad knees and, starting to ache and stuff, but he says the magic word and he becomes a teenage superhero.
Nice, kind of like the reverse of Shazam.
Exactly, Captain Kidd.
And I like that. I'll keep my eyes out for that. Well, thank you, Mark, for this time.
Absolutely.